For more than 20 years, CTV has captured the moments that matter in our community. From our studios in St. Clair, you're watching Focus with Paul Dingeman.
Well, Merry Christmas is almost around the corner. We're glad you're here. We've got a very interesting show. Good friend, Deb Johnson. Nice to see you.
Always good to see you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Deb Johnson is the Executive Director of the St. Clair County Community Mental Health, which is a very important agency at this time of year because people get depressed. They shouldn't.
No, it's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, right?
Right.
But it's not for everybody. But and it's not that we really want to talk more about maybe the holiday blues and just mental wellness, because there's a distinct difference between a little sadness around the holidays and clinical depression.
Yes.
So where should we start?
Well, we should start right there. What kinds of things should you do to navigate the stress?
All right. Well, I think some tips are to plan and prioritize, because we can't do everything. So plan and prioritize what you can do. That helps to minimize stress. Also, think about setting limits, setting boundaries, for sure. Learning to say no. Don't feel guilty. That's a hard thing for me. You know, I like to do everything all the time. Say yes, be helpful, but you got to say no sometimes, and that's okay. And don't feel bad about it. That
was the most tough word to learn for me, was to say no. And it took me a long time to do that.
It is, and then all of a sudden you find yourself, you're doing something every night of the week, and you're like, no, I need to be home, I need family time, I need to relax, I need me time. So speaking of that, good segue to self-care. So you need to make sure that you always take care of yourself, throughout the year, but especially during the holiday season when things do get a little hectic. If you spend some time taking care of yourself, and that doesn't mean like self-indulgence. It means making sure you're eating healthy, sleeping enough, physical exercise. That's always good. Get out even in the cold weather. It's good to get outside, walk a little bit, go to the gym. Whatever you do.
And of course, if somebody has experienced a loss during this time, that's puts extra burden on you too.
Yeah, and that can be extra hard, especially if it's the first season or the first holiday without your loved one. And it could be through death, divorce, different things, but it's still, things are not going to be exactly the same as they were before, because this person is not there anymore.
Right.
And so you have to learn to do things differently. And also to acknowledge the grief. That's okay, that's natural. And, and I guess it's different for everybody. Some people want to talk more about the person maybe, other people maybe not. So just try to be respectful of what is helpful to the person or to yourself. I mean, think about that for yourself. So always good to acknowledge your feelings and the feelings of others without passing judgment.
You hear about self-care and the importance of that practice. What's that all about?
So, we do talk about that all year long. It's important to, I mentioned it earlier, but it's important to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, how do you take care of somebody else?
Right, and that opens up a whole another category of people who are caregivers, and they need to take care of themselves, because it's really a tough job being a caregiver.
Super tough job. And I just got interviewed for an article for the Keel about loneliness and seniors and feeling connected or disconnected. And I said, and then when you're a caregiver during the holidays, so maybe you're a senior, maybe you're caring for your spouse, that's even harder. And so, you definitely got to take time for yourself. And maybe one resource, I think we'll talk a little more about that towards the end, but that I'm thinking about it is for people who are caring for anybody with Alzheimer's or dementia. There is a good resource available through the Dementia Alzheimer's Association of St. Clair County. Go on the Facebook or the website, and there's a thing that says Respite Care. Click on it. Takes you less than a minute, honestly, to fill out the application. It asks like 6 questions. One is your name and phone number, and somebody will get in touch with you. And if you qualify, you can get a $1,500 grant that would help for respite care, that pays for respite care in your home to help you with the person you're caring for, as long as they have Alzheimer's or dementia. So
So it's not your insurance isn't charged. This is something separate, but you probably have some qualifications.
Just the only qualification is that you're caring for the person in your home with Alzheimer's or dementia, some form of dementia.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's a good resource people could check out.
Right.
So so I guess I ventured off a little bit on that topic, but we were talking about self-care, and when you're a caregiver, it's especially important because you have to take care of yourself to take care of other people. So that's important.
Support for the community and our residents, specific mental health support. We were talking about that. Mental health first aid classes. That's something new.
No, not really. I mean, it's been new over the last maybe several years, but it's when you hear first aid, you probably first think of physical health care first aid, and mental health first aid is similar to mental health first aid is similar to physical health care in that, if somebody like cuts herself really bad,
right.
like bleeding profusely, you learn wrap it up, apply
right.
pressure, and if it's really bad, drive them to the hospital or call an ambulance depending on the
right.
severity. But you don't learn how to stitch them up, right? Because
right.
you're not going to be a doctor
right.
or a nurse. But you learn the things. So with mental health first aid, you learn to recognize signs and symptoms of mental health issues, and then to help the person and help connect them to the resources that they need. So it doesn't teach you to be a therapist. It teaches you to recognize signs and symptoms, know how to kind of interact with the person while you're trying to help connect them to the services that they might need.
Troy, if you'll throw up that first slide, that sort of explains it. And is this a class that's coming up?
We do it throughout the year. We have several. It's an 8-hour session, and we do it multiple times through the year. It is free to anybody in our community. And if you're a business or organization, could be a school, church group, anybody, will come do it on site as long as you have at least 15 people that want to take the class. Because it's in all of our best interest, our community's best interest, the more people know and understand about mental health issues,
right.
to recognize things in others, to offer assistance, and or share resources and referral information. So there's mental health first aid that is targeted for adults who work primarily with adults, and then mental health first aid class curriculum for adults who work primarily with children, and then for people who work with veterans is a third curriculum. And then the fourth curriculum it's called like a peer-to-peer, and it's going to be taught in high schools, so high school students will understand and maybe recognize in their friends and then know how to help their friends.
So they would maybe cut down on bullying.
Self-harm,
yeah.
Substance use, lots of things. So yeah.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And I can access that just by calling.
You can look on our website.
Okay.
And we post when the classes are going to be, or you can always call us at our 810-985-8900 and just say, hey, I heard something about that mental health first aid.
Right.
I'd like to get signed up. How do I do that? And they'll help you.
You also have a thing called a mobile crisis line. What's that all about? Yeah,
the mobile crisis line and mobile crisis unit, we started about 6 years ago, and 5 or 6 years ago. And so 24/7, a person from our staff answers the phone when you're in crisis, 810-966-2575. And they will talk to you over the phone, or they'll come out and do a face-to-face screening.
Wow.
And I always tell people, if you're not sure if it's a crisis or if you should call, like whether it's yourself or maybe someone else where you're thinking, I don't know, maybe they're okay, maybe I shouldn't call, maybe I'm overreacting. Don't feel like that. Pick up the phone, make the call, because you talk to our staff about it, and if you don't need to do anything immediately,
they'll tell you.
They'll tell you that. But based on what you tell them, if they think it's something that has to be dealt with right then, they can say, we'll come out, we'll do a face-to-face assessment, or based on what you're telling me, it sounds like you better take the person to the hospital. They need, inpatient or whatever, things like that. So mobile crisis is available 24/7, 365 days a year. Adults, children, doesn't matter if you have ever had services with us or ever will. It could be a one-time isolated thing, but it's open. It's open for everybody.
Okay. Are there other supports in the community for dealing with crisis?
Well, we also, crisis and trauma, I guess, is, we have the critical incident stress management team, and I'm pretty sure Amy Smith has been here talking to you in the past about it. And Mike McCartan, actually, they were both like kind of our leaders for that initiative. And that's basically when there's a traumatic event occurs and you need, it's called a debriefing. So maybe you're a first responder, a fireman who responded to a house fire where there maybe were death, different or some tragedies, or a horrible car accident, you're a police officer or a fireman, or medical personnel that see these things, and you need, it's traumatizing. And so trauma can do a lot of things to your mental health if it's left unaddressed and unattended to. So it's important to do the debriefing, and then if you still have continued issues, they give you some educational portion of the debriefing and say and give you papers. If any of these things keep happening, give us a call, or you probably need some more maybe one-on-one time with somebody.
Wonderful.
So that's another thing that we do, and that's available. School personnel. We've gone into schools when there have been tragedies. We've done bank robberies, all kinds of things.
Cool. On a little lighter note, Community Mental Health has launched again a 2024 Creative Arts Contest, and Troy will throw up that second slide. We'll talk about what you guys have done for a number of years.
Okay, well it's fun. We have
St. Clair High has been on top of the list for a number of years.
And middle schools, and between actually East China School District, Marine City, and St. Clair. But lots of schools in the county have gotten something. But we do a poster contest at the high school level. We do the writing contest at the middle school level. And we do a bookmark contest for elementary school children. And the theme this year is Building Bridges to Wellness, Nurturing Hope, Healing, and Resilience.
Okay.
So, and if somebody says, wow, what does all that mean? We are happy to come and talk to your class about it.
Okay.
And explain what that theme means from our perspective. And then we hope that people will do artwork, do writings, and they win big cash prizes.
So the information has been distributed to the school districts already, and then the submissions are sometime in January?
Yeah, January 19th, people have just over a month, I guess, from now, or approximately that amount of time. And if somebody is a parent hears about it and they ask their child, and the child says, I have no idea what you're talking about, you can make, but because not all teachers pass the information along, I don't know why, but you can go on our website, and you can also, if you're homeschooled, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
Any of those things are fine. So homeschooled, so you can, private schools, anybody, just go on our website, all the information's on there, and if you can't find it on there, call us.
Yep.
Call us at the 985-8900 number, not the 888.
Well, and then don't you put the winning billboard or winning art thing up on the billboard?
Yeah, the winning artwork is used for a lot of our marketing stuff throughout the year. So there will be a billboard in multiple places throughout St. Clair County. So that's kind of cool to see.
Your annual report.
Annual report. We use it. We make posters that have our access information and mobile crisis number on it. We distribute those all around the county. Yeah, it's used for a lot of stuff. So it's pretty cool. And then we make a booklet with the we call it the Creative Arts booklet, and we pass those out to whoever want them. And it has the winning writing submissions, the artwork, and the bookmarkers.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's fun.
Deb, you have a lot of good news, a lot of good information all the time.
And that's a fun thing, and I probably should have said this first off. The reason why we do that is we're trying to teach kids starting at an early age about mental health issues, and just even about differences, about accepting differences, and seeing everybody has strengths, and people are multifaceted, and looking at all those things. And we hope that kids learn from this experience, and we hope that someday there's no judgment for people who have mental health issues, and no stigma.
See you next year.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas to you and to your family.
Thank you.
We're back with our next guest in just a second. Familiar name around St. Clair is Mr. Brian Moss, and he's joining us today. Talk about a community sing-along.
Yeah, we one of the last efforts of the Theater Guild before they shut down was to try and start this community sing-along.
Right.
Just an opportunity for people to get out and sing.
Wonderful.
You know, to take up some space. And we found out about a program through the Sing Out magazine. I don't know if you're familiar.
I'm not familiar with that.
Sing Out magazine's been around since like '49.
Okay.
Okay, and they print words and chords
Okay.
for songs, and they've been doing this since then.
Right.
Well, they got together with a couple of writers, and they went around and they put together 2 books now, but this is the first one called Rise Up Singing, and there's 1,200 songs.
1,200 songs in here.
And
Troy,
and
take
the
a picture
chords,
of this.
and the chords that go along with them. And they're everything from church songs to nonsense songs to camp songs.
I like nonsense songs.
Well, the easiest ones to remember the words to.
Right.
But the idea is just that
Get together and sing.
you get together and sing. You need a song leader, which fortunately most often
Yep.
has somebody who plays piano
Right.
or guitar.
Right.
In fact, this coming Wednesday, Tom Kephart, who says hello as well, he's going to be doing our December sing-along. It'd be mostly holiday songs, and we'll have either word sheets or the books to work from, so you don't even have to guess at the words.
And that's at the St. Clair Library next to the fire hall.
Right next to the
And
fire
there's
hall,
no
yeah.
admission charge.
None whatsoever.
Oh, that
And
sounds
they
like
won't
fun.
shush you either.
You can sing loud.
You can sing right out.
Loud and off key.
Well, that too. But the idea is just to have people get together and sing. And this is not to be a performance. It's
Right.
not. It's the opportunity just to sing if you like to sing.
You've been doing it. You said you started it in 2018
Yes.
or so, and then closed down during COVID, reopened. Are you getting a good little small group or a nice group of people?
Very small group. That's why
quality.
I'm here.
Not quantity, quality.
That's true. No, we've had it's small groups, okay, and I'm not looking to have a huge group, but you know, a dozen people would be great.
Yeah.
And so this time, this month, Tom Kephart is our song leader. He's put together a whole bunch of songs.
Does Tom play an instrument?
Yeah, he plays guitar.
Oh, okay.
And this is my drawback. I play nothing.
All right.
So
Same instrument I play.
that's
Nothing.
the radio.
Right.
I play the radio. But he'll do a nice job. He's done it before, a few years back. The COVID just screwed everything
Right,
up all the
right.
time everywhere. But we're trying to get back on track. I'm trying to get some young people involved
Right.
through the schools.
Right.
You know, to take on the project. There's a lot of songs in here,
Oh, yeah.
and they're going to know them.
Yeah.
You know, some of them anyway. And then, well, you're the song leader for the Rotary Club, aren't you?
Well, we do. Yeah, well, we're dwindling down in size also.
Everybody is.
And
Everybody is.
so we don't do a song every week. We do a song, a welcome song, but we don't do another song. We used to do 2. But they're down to 1.
We're downsizing.
We're
You can't downsize much
Downsizing.
more.
Right. So it's coming up the 13th. Is that a Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday the
It's
13th.
the second Wednesday of each month.
And that's at
For
7
6
o'clock
months.
at the St. Clair Library. And there's no admission charge.
It's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Okay.
6 o'clock. We got to be out of there by 7:30 so that
Okay.
they can close the place down.
Okay. And then there's no admission charge.
None
Just welcome
whatsoever.
and bring your voice.
Just bring the desire to sing.
Okay.
That's all you got to have.
Very good.
And we're just looking. We're looking to do 6 months.
Okay.
October through March.
Okay.
Because the warmer or the nicer
Yeah.
it is, it's harder
People
to
are
get
out.
people inside.
Yeah.
But we thought, well, through the winter, give us something to do.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And so
Thank you.
come and get us. Come and join us.
Okay.
Sing out.
Brian Moss is the man's name, and he has been a singer with Bob Swain and a whole series of wonderful people for lots of years at St. Clair Theater Guild, and we're glad you stopped by to tell us about this.
Glad to have the opportunity. Glad to see the new digs. How
Yeah.
nice.
We're back with representatives from Huron City Radio, just next. See you. Well, you've heard the adage that radio is the theater of the mind. It is used to describe the way that radio creates visual images, the listener's imagination through the use of sound, music, and spoken word. Well, our guests now from Huron City Radio are trying to do that and have been successfully doing it for quite a while. Daniel Williams, welcome to the Focus Set. Nice to see you.
Thank you, Paul.
Mr. Anson Pavlo, welcome back to CTV, sir.
Glad to be back.
You were here when you were in high school.
I know, this was my very first job, and now I'm on this side of the table, which is very fun. It's always interesting.
That's right. It was it your first job?
Very first job.
And you shot football for me, probably?
Yep, did some football games, was behind these cameras on the Focus program, and now they're
all robotic.
all robots now.
Right, you know.
Robots are taking jobs.
Everything keeps moving along. Well, okay, let's talk about Huron City Radio. You got it started, and you've been doing great things with it. Tell me what's happening.
Well, we started in the pandemic, basically because everyone was at home, and all my actor friends were sitting around, with nothing to do.
Right.
So the idea, we did some Zoom shows for Enter Stage Right up in Port Huron, but they were over. Once they were done, they were gone. We could never record them because no one had the rights. So I thought, well, let's write and record our own shows. So I started writing shows, asking people if they wanted to join in, asking people with more technical know-how than me, like this gentleman here.
Yeah.
And we just started recording radio shows and ended up turning them into podcasts. And as the pandemic went on, we just kept making more and more until I think we ended up with about 20 hours of material.
Wonderful, wonderful. I don't know, it doesn't make any difference what your politics is, but I listened to Rachel Maddow did a thing on Spiro Agnew, and it was a podcast.
Okay.
And again, it was so beautiful. It was a radio show.
Yeah.
And she described that history of when Spiro Agnew was vice president, and then he got into trouble, and he was taking money, and now the attorneys got involved, and it was wonderful. It was a great theater of your mind. You could see the thing. You could see the whole show, and so many people are doing podcasts now.
They are. I think there was a real boom. I think with people sort of isolated and at home, what else can they do? And I think that's when the podcasts start to really take off.
Right. So, Anson, what is your involvement?
So when the pandemic started, we were hip deep in a different project where we were planning to film a movie.
Yes.
We were going to be filming and doing a bunch of other projects, and we had to put all of that on hold. And he came to me and he was like, "Hey, I think we should really start this. Maybe we should record a podcast." And I was telling him ways that you could record it with your phones, and everybody could be separate, and then I was going to stitch them all together, and we just went from there. And this idea was conceived to create a fake radio station talking about things that we like in the Blue Water area, but almost in this alternate reality where it's the gray water area and it's not the Blue Water area, and all these different spoofs of local people and places and things. And I just loved the idea so much.
Oh, it's a great idea.
So I got involved, and just from there, it's just been fun ever since, and not slowing down.
You got a party coming up. Tell me what's going on now.
Yeah, well, we kind of came to the end of writing shows because they took a lot of time, but theatre came back. People were back on stage. But we always wanted to do a stage show of one of our podcasts. And fortunately, down in Marine City, the Mariner.
Great place. Great place.
Paul and Laura were talking to them one day about a different subject. And they mentioned the radio show. Could you do it on the stage? And I was like, oh yeah, I've been looking for a venue for years.
Great venue for that.
So we did a show in the summer. I did tell a little bit of a lie because I said that was going to be our last one. But that was because I always wanted to do the Christmas.
The last one until the next one.
Until the next one. Well, I always wanted to do the Christmas show because the Christmas show was one that everyone involved had a lot of heart for. But I didn't want that to be the first one and it'd be terrible.
Yeah.
So I thought we'll try one out in the summer. And it was a success. People loved it. They wanted more. So we're going to be doing our finale next week at the Mariner with a stage show version.
Did I read that this is going to be the last part of Huron City Radio?
It is.
Why?
Yeah. Because for every hour of audio drama that I ended up putting out was taking me 40 to 50 hours of time. I just don't have the time. And we don't make a cent off it. Everyone has donated their time. So it's been a labor of love, and I'm so grateful for everyone who has donated their time. And it just felt like it's come the right time to draw a line under it. Having said that, every day our podcasts still get downloaded somewhere in the world. So they're out there being listened to.
I read that you've got quite an audience in Britain.
We do, yeah. We do have quite an audience in the UK. In fact, it seems to go the USA, then the UK, and we have quite a following in Germany as well, so I don't know who's listening to us in Germany.
Amazing.
But we've reached about 75 countries.
Wonderful.
And we're just missing one state who hasn't listened to us. So.
Oh, wonderful.
So that's great, yeah.
Well, if Troy will start throwing those slides up, we'll talk about what's coming up. The Midnight Hour with Tom, and you pronounce the last word.
Tom Babajowski.
Babajowski.
Babajowski, yeah.
Tom Babajowski. He's our enigmatic host.
He's an Irishman.
We don't know much about him, honestly. He's quite mysterious. But on December 14th and 15th at the Mariner Theater at 7 p.m., we're going to be putting on our two shows, our grand finale of the Christmas show, Midnight Hour Live, and it's just going to be so much fun.
Next. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Dan. That's a picture of you with a little lighting on you.
Yeah, that's us.
All right, and the next one I think is Anson.
Yeah,
there
that's
he is
me,
with the
wrapped in
baseball
Christmas
cap.
lights.
Yeah.
You bet.
I like the Christmas light. Now the crew. Talk to me about the crew.
Well, as you see from the left, you got Anson and myself. And then next to that, we have Stephen Couts, who's our sound guy. Mm-hmm. He's from Haberdasher Studio. He's making sure that everything's going to sound and look good. Then Rachel Kearney, she's an actor from the local area who's been in lots of stuff. She's in nearly everything Huron City Radio has done.
That's true.
As Marty Snarsky behind, he's been in lots of shows. Marty Garavaglia, who's been in one of our award-winning podcasts, where he's just him telling the story. And then we have Emily Corgill and Jake Buckley, who were part of the first recording of the Midnight Hour. And they're in every episode, and they've been in everything since. So.
Yeah. It's just a very fun team, and we got together to take these promotional photos, and we were in a very tight space, and so we were just holding up our backdrop. But you can just tell that everyone's having fun.
Oh, they're having fun.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the energy that we bring to the stage as well. So.
And the next one? There we go.
That's our poster.
The poster.
Yeah, down at the Mariner, and it's sponsored by a business here in St. Clair, the House of Blush Day Spa.
Is there an admission charge?
It's $20.
Okay, that's not bad.
There's only a handful of tickets left for the Friday show and not that many left for the Thursday show. So,
okay. And one more slide, I think. There, here.
That's our nice Christmassy logo.
Very Christmassy.
Yes.
Huron City Radio with the logo. Well, I wish you luck in the show, but I hope that you make a change of mind and continue, because it's it's a nice service for people to have something like this going on.
It's just nice to have some nice entertainment.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many things available, so much bad news everywhere. To have something unique like this is good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's a
About how
unique
that-
little area, and we've made a unique little show based on this area. So anyone who comes along will recognize this area, but you can probably tell from my voice I'm not originally from around here.
Right.
So it's seen through the lens of an outsider. So
Yes.
From Britain yourself?
indeed, yeah. Yes.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you. I've been in St. Clair now for 11 years. So.
Okay. And he's been here all his life.
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
There it is.
30-year-old man now.
I suppose. Yes.
Gentlemen, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
That's about it for this edition of the Focus program. Thanks very much for tuning in. Till next week, I'm Paul Dingelman. See you then.
Parapro, the same year that he was there, so we worked